Howdy, hi. It is Do Your Job Sports College Basketball Picks and Predictions. We are looking at the best bets of the day for November 26th. Let's get into the video. All right, first things first, got to recap previous day's results. It was not good for me as I went 2-5, lost a bunch of money. That brings our season record to 84 wins, 66 losses. Since we lost 5 picks, I add $3 to the giveaway fund for every single game lost. So that's $15. That brings the total to now $39. Majority of these games were really close. I think at one point all of these teams were covering, and then they just all went to crap. Unless it was Rutgers, and that was the exact opposite, where they looked horrible the entire game, and then they backdoor covered plus 6.5. So that was good. Everything else besides Michigan State, bad. No good. So I'll recap these games real quick, then we'll get on to the picks for tomorrow. So we started the day 2-1 in the early slate with Bethune, Michigan State, and Rutgers. So first we had Sparty. We took them minus 22.5, neutral site against East Carolina. East Carolina is atrocious at basketball. Sparty wins 89-56. ECU shoots 33% from the field, 69% from deep. They lose the offensive rebound battle 12-3. They lose the turnover battle 24-11. So they had 8 more turnovers than they did made shots. This team might not win a game in American play. Like, legitimately might not win one game. They are that bad at basketball. Next winner, Rutgers plus 6.5. I think at one point they were down 20 points in this game. Let me check. Notre Dame's largest lead, 19. 19 points they were down. And they come back to only lose by 5. Notre Dame really, well, first off, they couldn't make free throws down the stretch. They missed back-to-back front ends of 1-and-1s. Then they couldn't get an inbound pass in. They got a 5-second call. And then they also couldn't stop Rutgers from scoring. So it was kind of the perfect storm for Rutgers to backdoor cover. 68-63, we take those. Now we have the nonsense that are the losers. First one, Bethune-Cookman minus 2.5. I think they had like a 10-point halftime lead. Jeez, they had an 11-point halftime lead. It was 30-19. They lose the game, 61-54. Bethune, 30% from the field, 17% from deep, 62% from the free throw line. They win the offensive rebound battle 20-10. They win the turnover battle 11-14. How do you lose this game? You out-rebound them. You have fewer turnovers. You just can't hit the broadside of a barn, and you shoot 30% from the field. That is how you lose the game. They suck. Next one, Vermont plus 5.5. Let me find this game. All right, they kind of got schmacked by Rhode Island. I didn't think they'd get dominated in the paint as hard as they did. Vermont has some good-sized bigs down low. That did not matter here. Rhode Island wins the rebound battle 39-25. They win the turnover battle 11-14. They shoot 48% from the field. Vermont 42% from the field, 30% from deep, 70% from the free throw line. They lose by 15. That was not a good tournament for Vermont. They lose to Liberty. They lose to Rhode Island. And tomorrow they play Princeton. I don't think that one's going to go well either. Next game, Drexel, minus 7.5. This was at Morgan State. They were covering for a large portion of this game. They end up winning, but only by 5 because they couldn't make a three-pointer. They shoot 42% from the field, 27% from deep. They win the rebound battle by 14. They lose the turnover battle by 8. 15-7 in that department. That's not ideal. But it really came down to just shooting. You can't shoot 27% from deep and turn the ball over 8 more times than your opponent and then expect to cover 7.5. They win by 5. Then we had Houston Christian, minus 2.5. That was at Bellarmine. Final score here, as I'm scrolling to find it, I think they lost by 5. Yes, they lost by 5. 69-74. What happened here? I didn't watch any of this game. They win the offensive rebound battle 11-1. They shot 38% from the free throw line. 38. They went 9 of 24. How am I just now seeing this? There's no way that is a real stat. There's no chance. 0 of 2, 0 of 2, 3 of 7, 0 of 4 from the free. That's a real stat. That is legitimate. How do you shoot 38% from the free throw line? All right. If I would have seen that prior to making this video, they would have been on the ban list. So, how do you shot 49% from the field. How do you go 9 of 24 from the charity stripe? Just imagine they went 17 of 24. They covered this number. Good God, that's bad. And then finally, we had UCF minus 13.5. They were down, I want to say 7 points at halftime. They were down 5 points at halftime. They come all the way back. They have a 19-point lead with 2 minutes left. Quinnipiac ends the game on an 11-2 run. UCF wins 102-91. So we lose by 3 points on our spread. They win by 11. All right, that's how I go 2-5. Not fun. Let's get into the picks for tomorrow. All right, first game we got, it is Lipscomb on the road at Marshall. I'm going to take the Thundering Herd at home, minus 6.5. Should be a really good home spot for Marshall. They normally have a good crowd. Not much else to do in Huntington on Thanksgiving Eve. So I think most of them are going to show up for this basketball game. Lipscomb's been horrible on the road this year, so I will continue to fade them away from Nashville. They're 2-4 straight up, 0-4 on the road. Their wins were against a Division II school and then Western Carolina by 21. Their losses were to Vanderbilt by 44, Mercer by 15, UNC Asheville by 5, Belmont by 7. They returned 2 starters from last year's team. They lack any real athletes on this squad. You can watch the game. They don't have anyone who's dribbling down the court and doing like an off-the-backboard dunk to himself. No one's making any athletic plays on defense. They don't play defense, period. This team's not very good. Marshall, 5-1 on the year, still undefeated at home. Their only loss was on the road to Virginia by 26. That's not even that bad. Virginia looks really good. They're one of my favorite teams to win the Sun Belt. They're an old team, should be dangerous in March. They shoot it 48% from the field, 40% from deep. I think this team is very good, so I will take them minus 6.5 at home. All right, next game we got, I'm going to take another home team. Give me Mercer, minus 5.5. I think we all watched App State be one of the worst teams in college basketball and only score 51 points at home against Elon last game. So I will fade them because they're awful. App State 4-3 on the year, 1-2 on the road straight up. Their last home game, I got the score wrong. It was 88-53. This team is awful. 43% from the field, 30% from deep. A good old 61% from the free throw line. They've lost to every half-decent team they've played so far this year. They're awful. Mercer 3-2, 2-0 at home so far this year. Their wins are against a Division II school by 39, Lipscomb by 15, and then EKU by 12. Their losses on the road, Tennessee by 15. That is not bad. And then they did get the doors blown off them by Winthrop, losing by about 40. They return 1 starter from last year's team, and then a bunch of transfers, surprisingly, from high major programs. You bring in a kid from Boston College. You bring in another kid from Memphis. This team's really big down low. I don't see how App State's going to be able to mess with them in that front. I think they play bully ball. I think they win by double digits. Give me Mercer, minus 5.5. All right, next game. I'm going to take Bucknell, plus 3.5. This is game 2 for both of these teams. And the Fort Myers tip-off in Florida. Buffalo off to their best start, probably in program history. They're 6-0. Bucknell, not so much. I think this is a good bounce-back spot. Buffalo, 6-0 on the year. They beat VMI in the first round at 78-70, but they lost the rebounding and turnover battle in that game. The whole thing was VMI just couldn't hit water from a boat. Buffalo returns 2 starters from last year's team. They bring in a transfer from Wisconsin who's turned out to be a god, and then another guy from Longwood. They have size down low, but their bench depth is a problem. They really only run a 7-man rotation. Going up against another high-power mid-major, that's not going to work. If you get in any bit of foul trouble with anyone in that starting unit, you're going to have to start playing true freshmen off your bench, and that is not going to work. Bucknell, they're 2-5 on the year. They've played 2 bye games, though, so really they're 2-3. They beat Delaware by 8, then Mount St. Mary's by 11. Their losses are to Princeton by 10, Hofstra by 6, and then Bowling Green by 5. So realistically, they've been in every single game they've played, minus the 2 bye games. If you look at this team's build in terms of how it was constructed, it might be one of the weirdest ones in all of college basketball. In their starting 5, they have 3 European dudes who are all their bigs. I think one's from, it was Slovenia, Germany, and then I want to say Switzerland. And then their other 2 dudes are both from the Bronx. So you just got 3 massive Europeans and then 2 guys from the Bronx bringing the ball up the court. It is hilarious to watch. Give me Bucknell plus 3.5. I think they're the better roster. Buffalo's only laying this number because they're 6-0. This is their first time hitting the road against a real opponent. Bucknell's good. I'm going to fade Buffalo starting 6-0. Give me Bucknell plus 3.5. All right, next game. It is my favorite bet of the day. I'm going to go with 2 things. Number 1 is Vandy minus 18.5. The second thing is the over of 167.5. This is the first game in the Bahamas for both of these teams. Vandy has looked really good. I'm not going to say they're like top tier in the SEC, but I think they're like top 5 or 6 in that conference. Western Kentucky, they're going to have a tough time keeping up with the pace of play Vandy wants to play. We should see a very high-scoring game. Vandy 5-0 on the year, a bunch of home wins over some mid-majors, then a road win at UCF, 105-93. They have one of the most efficient, best offenses in the country, 103 points per game, shooting 53% from the field, making over 13 threes a contest. They start 4 seniors and a sophomore guard who's probably their best scorer on the court. They do everything you could want well on a basketball court. This team is very good. They also have a good coach with Byington, however you say his last name. WKU, they are also undefeated at 4-0. They have not played anyone good. This is their first time leaving the state of Kentucky. Their wins were against Tennessee Tech by 12, Eastern Kentucky on the road by 8, Tennessee State by 13, and then a Division II school by 30. They're small in basically every position, so Vandy should be able to bully them wherever they want. They also lack athleticism. The only way they stay in this game is if they shoot the 3-ball well. Give me Vandy minus the points. Give me the over. All right, next game we got. I'm going to take Miami of Ohio on the spread. I cannot find a line for this right now. This game takes place Jacksonville, Florida. I believe this is the Jacksonville Classic. UNC Greensboro has already played a game. They lost to Delaware by 13. UNCG's looked awful this entire year. Miami of Ohio's looked really good, so I will take them. I don't know what the number is, but I will rock it. UNCG, they're 1-6 on the year. Like I said, they just lost to Delaware by 13. They now have to play Miami of Ohio on a back-to-back, and Miami of Ohio hasn't played a game since Saturday. UNCG, very small, not in the front court, I meant in the back court. Their 2 starting guards are both listed under 6 feet tall. That is not going to fly against a Miami of Ohio team that is big. The Redbirds, or Redhawks, I think they're the Redhawks, they're 5-0 in the year. Granted, they haven't really played anyone. They returned 2 or 4 starters from last year. The only one they don't return is their starting point guard, who is now at Wofford. It was like Malachi Nelson or Makai Nelson, something like that. They shoot it well. They have size at every single position. Team's really good. So I will take them minus, I'd imagine they're laying at a neutral 6.5 maybe? 7.5 potentially? I don't know. I will take them. Next game, give me North Dakota State minus 115 on the money line. Neutral site game against Jacksonville State. This one's taking place in Arkansas State's Invitational. North Dakota State first game. Weird, like a little mini NTE. I don't really know what they're doing. North Dakota State, better roster, along with the better coach. I will take Richmond over Peachtree all day. There will be no one at this basketball game. I do not think either fan base travels for this the day before Thanksgiving, unless you are related to or a friend of someone on the team. North Dakota State 4-2 on the year, both their losses being in their first 2 games. Oregon State by 2, and then UC Davis by 12. Their wins are against Cal State Northridge by 22, Southern Illinois by 7, and then 2 Division II schools, They're a veteran team. They shoot at 46% from the field, 80% from the free throw line. The only concern is they turn it over more than 10 times a game. It's supposed to be 14 times a game. I don't know how I mistyped that. They also lack center depth. I don't know what they're doing. If their main guy gets hurt down low, they don't have much size to back them up. They're relatively large in the backcourt and the front court. They're all 6'2 to 6'6. But if their starting center does go down, who's 6'11, they might be in for a semi-rough time. Jacksonville State 3-2. They lost to Arkansas State in game 1 of this mini tourney, 74 to 63. 2 of their wins were against Division II schools. Those can just be tossed right out. They start 2 underclassmen. One of them is a true freshman. They return 0 starters from previous year's team. I don't really know what they're going to get from this roster. I think end of the season, you might want to back them. But early on, I don't think it's going to work against D1 competition. So I will take North Dakota State minus 115. All right, final game. Then we got our almost bets. Give me Colorado State plus 3.5, neutral site game against Virginia Tech. Also, give me the over, 152.5. This is another game that takes place in the Bahamas. I do like Colorado State very much. I think these are 2 teams that will be close to, if not on the bubble, come March Madness. A win here and 2 wins in this Bahamas tournament could basically lock them up for being a tournament in the big dance. Colorado State 4-1 on the year. They just lost a brutal home game to the University of Denver by 83-81. Their wins are against Incarnate Word by 34, Omaha by 23, Cal Poly by 14, and then Loyola Chicago by 13. Very efficient team. They shoot at 51% from the field, 45% from deep. First-year head coach in Ali Farouk Manesh. He's the Northern Iowa guy who hit the game winner in March Madness. I think they make a statement, bounce-back win after losing to Denver at home. Virginia Tech, these Hokies, 5-0, but the only real team they've played has been Providence. Providence really isn't that good. They beat them 107-101 in overtime. This is a new team. They return only 1 starter from last year. They have a Euro dude. I forget his first name. Last name is Abdulis. Dude's a freak, an absolute unit. They got seniors from UNLV and VCU transferring in. This is the first true road game they've played this year. True road game. Not like Colorado State is located in the Bahamas. First road game they've played this year. I'm assuming both of these fan bases travel. I mean, I wouldn't mind going to the Bahamas for a tournament. Should be pretty packed. A nice environment. But I will take Colorado State plus 3.5. I think this game should be a true pick'em. So give me the Rams and the over. All right, then we got the almost bets. Air Force plus 4.5 at home to Northern Colorado. Air Force is not this bad. They've been disrespected in all of their home games so far. They're not good, but they're not 4.5-point dogs bad. Next one was Harvard plus 6.5. I don't like taking Ivy League teams. Boston College, you can forget the ACC. They're one of the worst teams on the East Coast. I would take Northeastern, Elon, Fordham, UMass, like so many Upper East schools over them. They're awful. Boston College is ass. Then I'm going to take Northern Kentucky, minus 4.5 against Wofford. Wofford is not good away from home. I like the Norse at home. They should still get a really strong fan base. So give me the Norse, minus 4.5. All right, that's going to do it for me in this video. Hopefully today I don't get shelled. I appreciate you watching and tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.